Journal.
Recognizing result document. Bill Middle fifth to the Mustafa Taco and Nick. The Baron. $J$G pinning page. Journal. RTS. Max. Brother Florian asked me to be present during the inspection of the Baron's body. Alternatively, I can begin my investigation by following my other leads. The abbot doesn't want me around, so if I do decide to go see Brother Florian, I'll have to get his attention by throwing a small rock at the window of the infirmary. I should find someone to share supper with. Most of the families in town are welcoming. Lady Salamia may also want to speak with me after she arrives at the Abbey's guest house. Maybe I could even visit Smokey in the forest. Group. Alicantolarimus. Glossary. Glossary. Pentiment.
Waterfall. Old salt mine. The waterfall must flow down from the snow melt in the mountains above the abbey. Rotten and full of bugs. No wonder Otto hasn't split it up. Rotten and full of bugs. No wonder Otto hasn't split it up. Chorus. Shrine of Saint Sation. Waterfall. Shrine of Saint Sation. Meadow. Smokey's home. Church and druggers. Most of this felling is for the Abbey's renovations and firewood. The town can only gather sticks. Smokey's home. Smokey's home. Chorus. Vaxlov. Vaxlov. Chorus. Smokey. Chorus. Vaxlov. Vaxlov. Vaxlov says hey, Master Mailer. Chorus. Smokey. Smokey says, did you need something, Master Mailer? Option 1 of 2, would you mind if I joined you for a meal? Option 2 of 2, no, but thank you. Option 1 of 2, would you mind if Smokey says are you sure? Option 1 of 2, yes. Smokey says, well, then, I suppose you're welcome. Smokey says, this alright with you, Vaxlov? Vaxlov says, I suppose. Smokey says, alright. Good. Good. Bless us, O Lord, and these, your gifts, which we are about to receive from your bounty. Through Christ, our Lord, Amen. Vaxlov says amen. Player says amen. Option 1 of 2, thank you for the hospitality. Option 2 of 2, if you don't want me here, I can go. Option 1 of 2, thank you for the hospitality. Smokey says, of course. We're glad to have you. How else will Vexlov get his town gossip? Vexlov says, stop. I don't. Smokey says, alright, alright. I was only kidding. Option 1 of 3, if gossip is what you crave, dear Vaxlov, I am more than happy to provide. Option 2 of 3, I didn't take you for much of a gossip. No offense. Option 3 of 3, gossip's just a different type of trade, isn't it? I'm up for it if you are. Option 1 of 3, if Vaxlov says I don't. Smokey is. I like to talk to people about their beliefs, that's all. Not gossip. Smokey was making a stupid joke. Don't mind him. Smokey says don't sulk about it, then. Select food item to eat. Jerky. Mountain cheese. In truth, I'm the gossip, Master Mailer. I can't carouse with proper people, but I like to know what's going on. Select food item to eat. Jerky. If you tell me some of your gossip, I'll tell you some of mine. Option 1 of 2, that sounds reasonable. Option 2 of 2, I haven't heard anything to share lately. Option 1 of 2, player says Ferenc, the prior at Pearsall, has a special interest in magic. Vaxlov says the Hungarian. PFT. He has more than an interest. Never mind. Forget I said anything. Smokey says no, tell him the whole thing, Vaxlov. Tell him what you saw. Vaxlov says a few weeks back, I saw that man, the Hungarian, in the woods. He was doing some kind of ritual with blood. Option 1 of 3, that's not a good sign. The use of blood is often associated with black magic. Option 2 of 3, whose blood? Option 3 of 3, my god. Vaxlov says, well, I don't think it was that devilish. He just said some things in Latin, cut his hand. He kept repeating some phrase over and over. Sex looks 10 every or something. Smokey says scared you, didn't it, Vaxlov? Vaxlov says well. I don't mind if people have strange beliefs. Let people do what they want. I just don't like blood. What's inside the body should stay inside. Option 1 of 3 could be witchcraft. Option 2 of 3 well, I can't speak to what he was doing. Option 3 of 3 some indications require a blood sacrifice so the spirit has something material to work through. Smokey says work through. Player says yes, to do the bidding of the practitioner. Vaxlov says that sounds bad. Smokey says you heard anything else lately? Player says nothing else comes to mind. Vaxlov says good. Gossip makes trouble and it can get people hurt. Smokey says when you become such an old woman, Vaxlov, you're no fun at all. No one's getting hurt. We're just telling stories. Option 1 of 2 alright then. What have you heard? Smokey says well, the good brothers and sisters at the Abbey may have the townsfolk fooled, but not old Smokey. They get up to all sorts of things in these woods. Option 1 of 2 Option 2 of 2 maybe I'm better off not knowing. Option 1 of 2 Vaxlov says Smokey. Smokey says oh, please. No one around here cares if I live or die. They sure don't care about what I say to people. Vaxlov says BFT. Until they do. Fine, say what you want. Smokey says you know that monk and nun who do the shopping in town? Player says brother Wojcislav and sister Matilda. Smokey says well, they do more than shop together. They meet in the woods, sometimes. Where no one can see. No one except old Smokey. And do the things adults do, you understand? Vaxlov says Smokey. Smokey says what? It's true. Option 1 of 2 the abbot would be furious if he knew. I assume Mother Cecilia would be as well. Option 2 of 2 good for them. If they're happy, what's the harm? Option 1 of 2 the abbot would be furious. Smokey says well, then don't tell them. It's not like any of those folks are going to come down here to talk to me. Vaxlov says Sister Gertrude talks to you. Smokey says well, yes, but other than her. You heard anything else lately? Player says no, nothing. Smokey says no matter. There's plenty more to tell. Well, the whole town's built on Roman ruins, right? Pieces of an old town sit underneath the abbey, too. Hundreds of years ago the Romans built all sorts of things up here. Then one day they just vanished. We built on their old bones. You still have to be careful where you step in this forest. You're liable to fall into an old ruin. Or get scared halfway to the grave by a ghost. Vaxlov says it's true. Smokey saw a ghost. Option 1 of 2 you kidding me? Option 2 of 2 oh, I love ghost stories. Option 1 of 2 you kidding me? Vaxlov says I'm not. Ask Smokey. Smokey says it was late in the evening. The moon was high, painting the leaves all soft and silver. I heard a rustling in the meadow, like wind through the grass. Like whispers. I looked up. Vaxlov says this is my favorite part. Option 1 of 2 this is good. Option 2 of 2 motion for him to hurry it up. Option 1 of 2 this is good. Smokey says and there he was. Standing in the meadow like he's carved out of moonlight, bent near in half. He looks at me and it's like I've been speared straight through to my soul, just these two eyes like dark pools, pouring right into me. And his edges, the borders of him, they shimmer. So hard it hurts to look straight at him. I can't help it, I blink. Like God himself closed my eyes. This chill wind blows through me, the very breath of winter. And when I look back, he's gone. Select food item to eat. Almonds. 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 Vaxlov says I love that story. Option 1 of 3 a good story, well told. Option 2 of 3 huh? Maybe you really did see a ghost. Option 3 of 3. So a weird guy looked at you. Is that the option 2 of option 3 of 3? So a weird guy looked at you. Is that the whole story? Option 2 of 3 huh? Maybe you really did see a ghost. Option 1 of 3 a good story, well told. Option 2 Smokey says anyway, these ruins are haunted. Vaxlov says hey, Smokey, I have to get back to sharpening knives for the Albans. Smokey says alright, alright. Enough talking. Smokey says good to see you Master Mailer. Drop by again sometime. Option 1 of 2 thank you for having me, Smokey. Option 2 of 2 well, time for me to go. Option 1 of 2 thank you for having me, Smokey. Smokey says until next time. Player says I should get some sleep. Forest. Forest. Smokey's home. Church and Druckers. Meadow. Mill. Franz Bauer and Widow Kemperin. Drucker House. Central Town Commons. Zimmerman House. Yuan Bauer Farm. Gertner Farm. Gertner Farm. Gertner House. Gertner House. Gertner House. Gertner Farm. Gertner Guest Room. Gertner Guest Room. Gertner House. Gertner House. I really should clean this up. The Picatrix, Key of Solomon, the Heptameron. Prior Ferenc keeps giving me all of these books to read. The Picatrix, Key of Solomon, the Heptameron. A letter from Florian. It looks like there's a note inside. Florian says, Andreas, I waited for you as long as I could, but I had to perform the examination without you. The procedure was a bit rushed. It's possible I missed something, but I couldn't find a definitive sign of death. I have no choice but to report that the most likely cause is that the Baron was killed with his own knife. I did find this note in the Baron's clothing. It was partially soaked with his blood, so I haven't opened it. You're no stranger to delicate parchment, so I'm sure you can manage it better than I. I hope this gives you something to work with. I'm sorry I couldn't be of more help. Player says alright. Let's have a look at this note. The girl. The girl who died and the innocent with her. Maddens. Chapter. The same as the grave I found by the old salt mine. It seems like the note was trying to get the Baron to come to the chapter house. This is the exact same book hand and ink color as the other note I found. I'm starting to think the Baron's murder was orchestrated by someone else entirely. Someone manipulated the Baron and his killer into meeting in the chapter house in the dead of night. This is hardly a reassuring development. Go to bed. Go to bed. Player says it's getting late, I should get some rest. Option 1 of 2 go to sleep. Ursula says Andrew. Option 1 of 2 good more. Option 2 of 2 stare at this child. Option 1 of 2 good more. Player says oh, it's not morning. Ursula says. Player says it's the middle of the night, Ursula. Option 1 of 2 what are you doing up here? Option 2 of 2 how did you get out of bed? Option 1 of 2 what are you doing up here? Ursula says. STF. Player says I see. Ursula says haha. Player says would you like me to tell you a story? Would that help you sleep? Ursula says Option 1 of 2 have you heard the story of the cat and the cradle? Option 2 of 2 let me tell you the story of the little girl who haunted the sleepy artist. Option 1 of 2. Have you heard the story of the cat and the cradle? Ursula says. Player says far up north, in Flanders, where Lenhart's mill came from, there's a town by the sea. 100 years ago, there was a great flood there on the feast of Saint Elizabeth. You know how mad your dad gets when the water comes through your farm? Well, it was like that, but much worse. If your dad saw Saint Elizabeth's flood, he'd probably lose all his hair on the spot. The waters rose so high that everyone had to leave the town. Many families lost their homes. When the flood waters went down, the townsfolk went to look for survivors. Would you believe that they saw a baby's cradle floating in the water? Ursula says. Player says I know. It strains credulity, but it's about to get even stranger. There was a cat on the cradle. It was jumping back and forth to keep the waves from getting in. The townsfolk couldn't believe it, so they slowly rowed their way out to the cradle. And when they looked inside, what did they see but a tiny baby, warm and dr. Ursula says Goofl. Player says anyway, that's why they named the town Kinderdijk. Makes more sense if you know Dutch. Go to bed. Time to get back to work. Gertner house. Ursula. Gertner guest room. Ursula says enter your room. PPPBBT. Gertner guest room. Gertner farm. Eva says it will be fun to have you spinning with us, Andreas. Clara says I hope we see you the spinning bee, Andreas. Eva. Gertner farm. Gertner house. Peter. Ill Peter says God bless you. Peter says Andreas. Gertner house. Big Yard. Town Commons. Gertner farm. Yuan Bauer farm. Zimmerman house. Church and Druckers. Town Commons. Central Town, Drucker Klaus. Franz Bauer and Widow Kemperen. Klaus says morning, Andreas. Franz Bauer, Mill, Thomas. Thomas says God be with you, Andreas. Meadow. Forest. Meadow. Mill. Till. Forest. Lower Abbey. Forest. Till. Till says hello, Master Mailer. Forest. Lower Abbey. Forest. Till. Mill. Mill. Till. Forest. Lower Abbey. Meadow. Upper Abbey. Upper Abbey. Meadow. Guest house. Abbott house. Guest house. Upper Abbey. Lower Abbey. Church. Cloister. Church. Upper Abbey. Monastery Loquarium. Ruger, Cloister, Crypt, Tower. Dormitory, Old Matthew, Sacristy. Matthew, Old Dormitory. Tower, Crypt, Cloister, Ruger. Ruger says God bless you, Andreas. Cloister, Crypt, Tower. Dormitory, Old Bailey. Church. Old Bailey. Dormitory. Tower, Crypt. Tower. Dormitory, Old Matthew, Sacristy. Matthew. Player says Brother Matthew, I've spoken with the abbot about the Gertner's taxes. Matthew says oh. Player says Lie Father Gernot said you could pay me early. Matthew says did he? The abbot hasn't said anything to me about it. Player says the Baron's murder is likely occupying more of his attention. Matthew says there's no need to be so macabre. Option 1 of 2 apologies. Option 2 of 2 shrug. Option 1 of 2 apologies. Matthew says come with me. Matthew says here you are. I shall note this with Father Gernot and Prior Ferenc. Player says thank you, Brother Matthew. Matthew says God bless you, Andreas. Sacristy. Player says alright, now that I've got my payment, I can give Clara the rent early. Option 1 of 2 I'll give it to her directly to make sure she receives it. Option 2 of 2 I'll put it on the table in the evening to surprise them. Option 1 of 2 I'll give it to her directly to make sure she receives it. Matthew, Old Dormitory. Tower, Crypt, Cloister, Ruger. Monastery, Upper Abbey. Church. Lower Abbey. Shrine. Convent Garden. Shrine. Lower Abbey. Upper Abbey. Meadow. Lower Abbey. Forest. Till. Mill. Church and Druckers. Meadow. Thomas, Mill, Franz Bauer and Widow Kemperin. Franz Bauer, Mill, Thomas. Thomas says God be with you, Andreas. Mill, Franz Bauer and Widow Kemperin. Klaus, Drucker House. Central Town, Town Commons. Zimmerman House. You on Bauer Farm. Gertner Farm. Andrew says hello, Andreas. Gertner Farm. Big Yurd. Gertner, Peter. Gertner House. Gertner House. Gertner Farm, Eva. Clara. Clara says hello, Andreas. Player says hello, Clara. I have something for you. Clara says oh. Player says this should be enough to pay my rent, and the tax you owe the abbey. Clara says Andreas. This is far more than your rent payment. We can't accept this. Option 1 of 3 please, Clara. It's the least I can do. You and option 2 of 3 consider the rest a gift, then, in addition to my rent. Option 3 of 3 I insist. It's enough to pay back the abbot, yes. Option 1 of 3 please, Clara. It's the least I can do. You and Peter have been such gracious hosts. Clara says but Andreas, how did you even find so much coin? Are you sure you'll have enough to spare for yourself? Option 1 of 2 don't worry about me, Clara. I'll be fine. Option 2 of 2 I convinced Brother Matthew to pay me a bit early. I wanted to be sure you could pay your taxes in time. Option 1 of 2 don't worry. Clara says oh, well, if you're sure. Thank you, Andreas. You don't know what this means to us. Option 1 of 2 I am happy to help, Clara. It's the Christian thing to do. Clara says you're a good man, Andreas. Thank you. I'll let you move on with your day. God bless you. Player says until later. Clara. Clara says I hope we see you the spinning bee, Andreas. Eva. Gertner Farm. Big Yurd. Town Commons. Gertner Farm. You on Bauer Farm. Zimmerman House. Church and Druckers. Town Commons. Central Town. Drucker, Klaus. Franz Bauer, Mill, Thomas. Meadow. Forest. Church and Druckers. Meadow. Thomas, Mill. Thomas. Meadow. Mill. Till. Forest. Lower Abbey. Meadow. Upper Abbey. Lower Abbey. Church. Church. Upper Abbey. Monastery Loquarium. Ruger. Cloister. Crypt. Tower. Dormitory. Old Matthew. Sacristy. Matthew says God bless you, Andreas. Old Dormitory. Old Bailey. Church. Scriptorium. Scriptorium. Old Bailey. Guy. Old Bailey. Guy. Guy says good day, Andreas. Old Bailey. Old Bailey. Guy. Old Bailey. Journal.
Recognizing result. Lil. JG dollar pinning. Ex libris max. Journal. I need to find a way to get an advance from the Abbey so I can help the journalers pay there. I taxes. I could speak with Brother Matthew about an early payment for my manuscript. Father Journal might be receptive to a negotiation for the funds. I'll need to approach the subject carefully and make it worth his while. Group. LB. The 3 T. People. Glossary. Father Journal and I were unable to come to a agreement regarding early payment for my manuscript work. One managed to convince Brother Matthew to pay me early for my manuscript. Luckily one didn't need to convince the abbot. One should get the money to Clara. Clara seemed very grateful for the money. Hopiful if this will only add some of get no money troubles. 0, 0, 0. Get no hopiful. Clara gets the money didn't need pay me one manuscript agreement with Father Journal and I were on the glossary. Pentiment.
Old Bailey. Scriptorium. Cemetery. Scriptorium. Prior's house. Old Bailey. Player says there are deep indentations in this parchment. Whoever wrote I wonder if I could make a charcoal rubbing of this page and reveal the content of the writing. Aha. Clear as an alpine day. It's a letter to the Baron from Prior Ferenc. My god. Lawrence was blackmailing Ferenc to get him to perform some kind of occult ritual. Option 1 of 2. It's one thing to read books on magic, but few are foolish enough to attempt to actually practice what's written in them. Option 2 of 2. No wonder Ferenc was so unsettled when Lawrence arrived. The option 1 of 2. It's one thing. Option 2 of 2. No wonder Ferenc was so unsettled when Lawrence arrived. The Baron could have gotten him executed for witchcraft. Option 1 of 2. It's one thing to read books on magic, but few are foolish enough to attempt to actually practice what's written in them. Old Bailey. Old Bailey. Prior's house. Old Bailey. Player says someone was in a hurry to get rid of this parchment. Smells recent. Probably wasn't burned more than a day ago. Old Bailey. Player says now that I know the connection between the astrological symbols on the cipher and the elemental symbols on the Volvel, Ferenc's note should be easy to decipher. Old Bailey. Prior's house. Scriptorium. Cemetery. Scriptorium. Scriptorium. Old Bailey. Got. Old Bailey. Old Bailey. Guy says good day, Andreas. Guy. Old Bailey. Scriptorium. Church. Dormitory. Church. Church. Old Bailey. Dormitory. Dormitory. Old Matthew. Sacristy. Matthew says God bless you, Old Dormitory. Tower. Crypt. Cloister. Church. Cloister. Crypt. Tower. Church. Tower. Crypt. Church. Player says these two markers go back centuries, all the way to the founding of the abbey. These two markers go back centuries, all the way to the church. The foundations of the abbey were built when the Romans occupied this land, not long after the death of church. Abbot Dietrich, from the height of Gear saw's power in the 14th century. Those days have long passed. Library. The sisters may be in the library right now. I need to wait until compline. Library. Church. Crypt. Cloister. Ruger. Cloister. Church. Dormitory. Kitchen and cemetery. Kitchen and cellar. Dormitory. Church. Sebat. Refectory. Courtyard and large garden. Modest chapter house. Infirmary. Upper abbey. Infirmary. Chapter house. Cloister. Large garden. Large garden. A Dance of Death mural. Father Matthias had it painted a few years before his death. It's beautiful. A Dance of Death mural. Father Matthias had it painted a few years before his death. This bloodstain is awful. It must have been left by the Baron before he died, but how? This bloodstain is awful. It must have been left by the Baron before he died. Cloister. Chapter house. Infirmary. Upper abbey. Infirmary. Chapter house. Monastery. Loquarium. Large garden. Courtyard and lavatorium. Refectory. Sebat. Sebat says Andreas, I am sorry about what is happening to Brother Piero. I do not know him well, but I find it hard to believe he could have killed the Baron. Option 1 of 2 he didn't. I'm going to figure out who did. Option 2 of 2 do you have any idea who might have done it? Did you see anything? Option 1 of Sebat says I will pray for your success. I know it might be far from your mind, but have you considered my offer to eat with you and the townspeople? The gospel says that man cannot live on bread alone, but from time to time, a little bread is required. Option 1 of 2 I need to continue looking into the Baron's murder. Perhaps later. Option 2 of 2 not now, but perhaps later. Option 1 of 2 Sebat says of course. I understand. God give you health. Player says until later. Sebat. Church, dormitory, kitchen and cemetery. Kitchen and cellar, dormitory, church, Sebat, refectory. Refectory. Cloister. Kitchen and cellar. Large garden. When the brothers eat their meals, this is where the lector reads to them. Kitchen and cellar, cloister. Refectory. Courtyard and large garden. Courtyard and lavatorium. Cloister. 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 Courtyard and lavatorium. Refectory, Sabbat, church, dormitory, kitchen and cemetery. Kitchen and cellar. Refectory. Lucas, Wojslav. Large garden. Wojslav says, I'm sorry, Andreas. I can't let you down there. Father Gernot doesn't want anyone talking to Brother Piero before the Archdeacon arrives. Option 1 of 3, what am I going to do? Elope with him? Option 2 of 3, just a few minutes? Option 3 of 3, that's ridiculous. Option 2 of Wojslav says I really shouldn't. Player says, you know I can't let this go. I won't let this go. Wojslav says. Damn it, Andreas. You have 2 minutes. Piero says, Andreas. You shouldn't be down here. Option 1 of 2, I know, but I had to make sure you were alright. Option 2 of 2, I know, but I wanted to ask you about what happened. Option 1 of 2, I know, Piero says, I am fine, my son. You should not worry about me. Player says, I'm going to prove to the Archdeacon that someone else killed the Baron. Piero says, do not trouble yourself over an old man, Andreas. I have lived a long and good life in service to the Lord. Trust in the judgment of the Archdeacon and above all else, in providence. Even if I am condemned in body, I am saved in spirit. Now then, leave me be. I will be all right. Option 1 of 2, I will respect your wishes, but I'm still going to prove to the Archdeacon that you're innocent. Option 2 of 2, before I leave, can you tell me what happened? Option 1 of 2, I will respect your wishes, but I'm still going to prove to the Archdeacon that you're innocent. Piero says, you are a stubborn man, Andreas Mailer. I appreciate what you are trying to do, but do not endanger your future on my account. Now please, leave me before you and Brother Wojslav draw the abbot's ire. Option 1 of 2, take care, Brother Piero. Option 2 of 2, as you wish. Option 1 of 2, take care, Brother Piero. Piero says, God be with you. Large garden. Lucas, Wojslav. Wojslav says, God bless you, Andreas. Lucas says hello. Refectory. Cloister. Refectory, journal.
Recognizing result X Libris. Miss 5 dot. The Baron $I Pin LTRT. I found the burned remnants of a note in. Prior Faring's house. It's unclear what the contents of the note were, but it was written in a purple ink with exceptionally fine lettering. Group. Natili. People in. Tab. Close. Tab. People in Natili. Group. Lettering. In a purple ink with exceptionally fine contents of the note were, but it was written. Prior Faring's house. It's unclear what the contents of the note were. Prior I found the burned remnants of a note in. Prior Faring's house. It's unclear what the contents of the note were, but it was written in a purple ink with exceptionally fine lettering. Pentiment.
Refectory. Lucas, Wojslav. Large garden. Kitchen and cellar. Animal pens. Kitchen and cellar. Refectory. Cloister. Chapter house. Large garden. Player says, a Dance of Death mural. Father Matthias had it painted a few years before his death. It's beautiful. Cloister. Chapter house. Infirmary, Upper Abbey. Infirmary, chapter house. Cloister. Chapter house. Infirmary. Florian. Most of these medicines were made by Agnes Steinauerin with some help from Sister Gertrude. Florian. Saint Luke. The patron of artists is also the patron of healers. Saint Luke. The patron of artists is also the patron of Cloister. Florian. Florian says, God bless you, Andreas. Cloister. Infirmary. Upper Abbey. Infirmary. Chapter house. Monastery Loquarium. Monastery. Chapter house. Monastery Loquarium. Cloister. Church. Church. Cloister. Monastery Loquarium. Large garden. Courtyard and lavatorium. Refectory. Sabbat. Church. Dormitory. Kitchen and cemetery. Kitchen and cellar. Dormitory. Dormitory. Cloister. Edoc. Church. Old Bailey. Church. Edoc. Edoc says God bless you, Andreas. Cloister. Dormitory. Kitchen and cemetery. Cloister. Player says the apple trees have only started to bloom. It will be months before they bear. Old Bailey. Animal pens. Animal pens. Old Bailey. Cloister. Kitchen and cellar. Dormitory. Church. Sabbat. Church. Church. Cloister. Crypt. Tower. Dormitory. Old Matthew. Sacristy. Matthew says stay. Out. Matthew. Old dormitory. Tower. Crypt. Church. Library. Player says the sisters may be in the library right now. I need to wait until compline. Abbot Dietrich, from the height of the church. The foundations of the abbey were built when the Romans occupied this land, not long after the death of Christ. Church. Crypt. Cloister. Rutger. Monastery. Upper Abbey. Church. Church. Cloister. Church. Lower Abbey. Shrine. Convent garden. Shrine. Upper Abbey. Marguerite. Sophie. Marguerite. Marguerite says Master Mailer. Player says yes, it's me, sister. Marguerite says do you think Brother Piero really murdered the Baron? Option 1 of 2 no, of course not. Option 2 of 2 do you? Option 1 of 2 no, of course not. Marguerite says oh. Then why did Father Abbot have him put in the cellar? Option 1 of 2 I don't know the answer to that, Sister Marguerite. I'm sorry. Option 2 of 2 Father Abbot is afraid of what will happen if we can't figure out who the killer really is. Option 1 of 2 I don't know the answer to that, Sister Marguerite. I'm sorry. Marguerite says do you think the devil could appear here at Gearsaw? Option 1 of 2 yes, I suppose. Why? Marguerite says I didn't see the devil, but I think I smelled his odor. The night before the Baron was killed, I woke before Matins and I smelled something in our dormitory. It was strange. Moss and sulfur mixed with frankincense and roses. It moved through the room. I wanted to scream, but I was too frightened. And then it was gone. I'm ashamed that I didn't cry out, but I didn't know what to do. Option 1 of 2 I don't know that I would have done any better, sister. Option 2 of 2 did any of the other sisters smell it? Option 1 of 2 I don't know. Marguerite says that's small comfort, but thank you. Player says thank you, Sister Marguerite. Marguerite says God bless you, Master Mailer. Marguerite. Sophie. Sophie says God bless you. Matilda. Matilda says God bless you, Master Mailer. Player says may I ask you some questions, Sister Matilda? Matilda says you know Mother Cecilia doesn't like us talking to men unless it's truly necessary. Option 1 of 2 it's about your relationship with Brother Wojciech. Option 2 of 2 forgive me. I'll leave you to your work. Option 1 of 2 Matilda says. I don't see what business that is of yours. Option 1 of 2 the abbot is concerned about the future of the abbey, especially with the archdeacon's visit. Option 2 of 2 I am just letting you know that I know. Option 1 of 2 Matilda says well, I wasn't planning on telling the archdeacon. Were you? Option 1 of 3 no. Option 2 of 3 it may come up when he questions me. Option 3 of 3 why keep this up when it comes with so much risk to yourself and the abbey? Option 1 of 3 no. Matilda says then there's nothing more to talk about. Player says until later, Sister Matilda. Matilda. Matilda says God bless you, Master Mailer. Player says may I ask you, Matilda says you know Mother Cecilia doesn't like us talking to men unless it's truly necessary. Player says forgive me. I'll leave you to your work. Matilda says thank you, Master Mailer. Matilda. Matilda says God bless you. Player says may I ask you some questions, Sister Matilda? Matilda says you know Mother Cecilia. Player says Matilda says thank you, Master Mailer. Matilda. Matilda says God bless you, Master. Player says may I ask you some questions? Matilda says you know Mother Cecilia doesn't like us. Player says forgive. Matilda says thank you, Master Mailer. Matilda. Sophie. Sophie. Sophie says God bless you, Matilda. Sophie. Marguerite says God bless you. Player says Brother Matthew maintains the shrine along with some of the sisters, who paint badges for pilgrims. Marguerite, Upper Abbey. Lisbeth. Gertrude. Lisbeth. A reliquary containing the hand of Saint Moritz, which is said to have once held the Holy Lance. Lisbeth. Lisbeth says God bless you, Master Mailer. Gertrude. Gertrude says God bless you, Master Mailer. Lisbeth. Upper Abbey. Options. Main menu, quit. Main menu, quit. Cancel.
Recognizing results on Monday, 7 April 23rd, 15 prime dash 6 hours. Hit game. Prime dash 6 hours. Hit game. Your game was last saved 45 seconds ago. Pentiment.
Options.